Well, we have a late winter storm that is moving through the upper Midwest with heavy snow as well as severe weather. We're going to be talking about that. And looks like we're going to be getting the cold front from that storm system come Thursday night into Friday. And that's going to bring some rain and some wind and maybe even some accumulating snow well to the north and west of the coast in elevated areas. We'll talk about that, also north and east of the coast. We'll talk about that and much more tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support by shopping our referral link to Amazon, which is pinned to the top of the chat board. It's on also on the descriptor to this podcast. Just do your searching and shopping, and Amazon will throw us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It's an easy, quick way to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, and it doesn't cost you a penny because it's all out of their pocket and not yours. And that means we keep commercials here to a minimum, and I know a lot of you like that. So, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Joe is having some internet issues. So he's going to join us ASAP. In the meantime, I figured we'd get things started with what's going on tonight. And it's a busy night of severe weather in the in parts of the Midwest and in the Ohio Valley. We are seeing the weather front with this developing low, and it's very well defined on satellites and radars, which we'll take a look at in just a second. It's typical of a March storm system. It has a little bit less in the way of moisture as far as the last couple of systems have had to deal with. In fact, ahead of it, the air was so dry that there was actually a lot of dust being reported in places across Oklahoma and in the middle Mississippi Valley. And that's where you see these red flag warnings that are up. Humidity levels are very low in much of the eastern United States. We've got blizzard warnings up in parts, still some leftover blizzard warnings up in parts of northwest Kansas and in eastern Nebraska, northeast into southeast Minnesota, which they turn to winter storm warnings when we get up into Wisconsin. We have a working tornado watch, actually two working tornado watches up in Illinois, Indiana, down into Kentucky. We have severe thunderstorm watches that are up for central and eastern Indiana and western Ohio, and also for some counties in southern Michigan. Out in the west, winter storm warnings are up for the Cascades, and we see that we've got Joe Rayo here with us. So let me bring him up on the screen so we can say a big hello, because Joe's going to do the radars tonight, if he doesn't mind.
No, of course not.
Excellent, excellent.
Um,
So you're
all
all
right.
put. You had internet issues, so you were all put together.
I'm not on the same internet that I'm usually on. I seem to be on a slower type of internet. I don't know. This happens sometimes. I didn't shut the whole system down to get
Ah,
back to get back to the normal internet. I would have had to shut down, my router, my Wi-Fi, and a whole bit, and then bring it all back up again. What I simply did was here, because it's a problem with my computer, my desktop. So what I did was instead of shutting it all down, I just simply restarted everything. So
well,
everything else stayed the same.
you look fine, and you're not jumpy. So if you want to get, I'll just really quick. I'll punch up the wide radar and show everybody, and then we'll switch right over to you. This gives you a chance to pull them up on the screen there. But
Okay.
here's the live radar tonight, and as we always say, when you always look for that signature, that hook signature or the comma shape, and that's exactly what we have. That tells you that you're dealing with something of strength, and we're definitely seeing it there tonight. Radars in the east, up and down the east coast, are nice and quiet. I'm not exactly sure what is showing up here across central Pennsylvania up through upstate New York. It looks kind of weird. I don't know, maybe it's a flock of birds or something because it looks really sort of strange. But let's head out. You'll see the little bit close up here, and you notice there's a lot of yellow boxes with severe thunderstorm warnings. I did notice a couple of tornado warnings earlier in east central Illinois. We're seeing that line is now moved into western Indiana and western Kentucky, kind of thins out a bit when you get down into Tennessee. And the darker bands that you see up in Wisconsin, that is some heavy snow. In the meantime, we've got heavy rain coming into the west, in northern California, and heavy precipitation coming in to the Pacific Northwest. So Mr. Rayo's got the local radars ready to go, so he will take it away.
Okay, very good. We'll go and share the screen, and we will start off with Lincoln, Illinois. Lincoln, Illinois is more or less in the center of the state, and you can see that we start off this loop with a broken line of rather severe weather that looks like it's moving rapidly to the east northeast. See the angry oranges and reds here, and this activity again associated or affiliated with a big storm that's actually off to the northwest. This is the front, the cold front that is working its way toward our area and will be arriving here probably sometime late tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. I want to go up to the Chicago area where I know a little while ago they were under a severe thunderstorm warning, and you could see why. This is a rather potent line that indeed is moving toward the Windy City and will be, moving through the Windy City. This area now out over Lake Michigan. And this area, again, possibly potent enough to produce damaging winds, heavy rain, and maybe even an isolated tornado. We will see how that all pans out. Then as we move up into the lower peninsula of Michigan, and here is Detroit, White Lake, Michigan. And you can see that there's not really all that much showing up yet. There is a band of rain that kind of breaks up as we progress through the loop here, but nothing really of any great concern at the moment. So let's go back a ways to, let's say, Indianapolis. Indianapolis showing that area that was heading up towards Chicago, now working its way across the Illinois-Indiana border, and is now located just to the north and west of Indianapolis on the final couple of frames of this loop. And that, again, showing potent thunderstorm activity and areas that certainly will be monitored in the coming hours. If we go back further west, let's go up toward Minneapolis. And I presume that here, Joe, what you're seeing is actually precipitation that may be in the frozen form, probably some snowy conditions here. I know that some areas behind the storm system have near blizzard conditions. Here we are in Des Moines, Iowa, and you can see again behind the storm system how the precipitation seems to be whirling in a counterclockwise fashion down from the north and east, and is covering a good part of the state of Iowa here. And again, this is probably in the frozen form. This is the cold side of the storm, which eventually is going to be moving on a track up into, by this hour tomorrow night, probably into southern Quebec. The front will be located just to the west of the tri-state area. But then, interestingly, a wave of low pressure is expected to develop, probably somewhere down near the Delmarva or South Jersey area. And as this front moves on through tomorrow night, it will ripple. That wave of low pressure will ripple along the front to the north, come on through our area, dump a quickie half-inch or so of rain on us, and then behind that system, as it intensifies and moves off toward Cape Cod and down East Maine on Friday, intensifying to a degree where we're going to be hit with some rather strong, gusty, northwesterly winds, which could gust over 45 miles an hour, making it a windy end to the week here on Friday. Where else could I go on the radar, Joe? Do you have any suggestions?
I think you pretty well. Go ahead and go to the West Coast, north of San Francisco, because the radars are busy there. You can take a look at that.
All right. Well, this is Beale Air Force Base in California in Oroville. Doesn't look all that impressive until the final frames of the loop where you see that band of precipitation coming in from the Pacific Ocean. Let's head on up to, I'm trying to find San Francisco. The type is so small here. Here's San Francisco. And you can see again that area moving in from off of the Pacific. Hasn't reached San Francisco yet, but it will ultimately, with time, it'll get there probably by later tonight. We move over toward Portland, Oregon. You can see that the precip is already working its way onshore from the Pacific there, and is coming in and moving into inland from Portland. So yeah, it's wet out in the western part of the United States. What is that called? Scappoose, Portland, Oregon / Scappoose.
No
Anyway,
idea.
it shows it shows precip hitting the coastline of Oregon and also entering into Washington State as well.
All right. I like, you know what I like about this time of year from a viewing
What do you
perspective,
like about this time of year?
satellite wise, is that this is where you get the storms to really show their character in terms of their signatures on the satellite. I mean, if you look at the rotation, we've got a large Atlantic storm that's southeast of Bermuda that's rotating around. This has taken almost 3 days to move from the Carolinas eastward, and it's very well defined, very large circulation there that is out in the ocean. And of course, we were sort of blocked in the middle. Now I can see why there's probably the radar I was mentioning earlier. It looks like some weird stuff was on the radar in central Pennsylvania. There's actually a little bit of blow away cloudiness, I guess, that's run out well ahead of the cold front, and that's it moved into central Pennsylvania and upstate New York, and we saw some echoes aloft. And then you see the signature with this. I guess we could call it a major storm system. It's down in the 980s in terms of pressure, and very well defined rotation. The lightning strikes are showing up quite vividly in western Indiana, and that line is pushing eastward. And then you got a system off the Pacific Northwest coast. So the storms get, you know, they look part. Less sometimes when you're deep in the winter, sometimes they don't look the part. These definitely look the part.
Yeah, and I saw somebody saying that snow lovers are going to get a kick in the teeth this month of April because there'll probably be a number of different coastal systems. Adam Lowe is the one who said that. April will be a huge kick in the teeth for East Coast snow lovers as the nor'easters line up. The normals will be just a little too high for snow on the coast and we'll get windswept cold rain. I should point out that not too far away from the coastline, according to the Climate Prediction Center. And I'm going to show this map. I'm going to share it with everybody right now, Joe.
All right, hold on. Let me
So
switch
just,
you back.
just hold your horses for a moment here. And this is their hazardous experimental forecast map, the risk for heavy snow. And there is a slight risk for heavy snow on this map, according to the CPC. Let me zoom in here and I'll show you. Yeah, there is the arrow for slight risk. But look at that area. That's not too far away, really, from the tri-state. I know it's not the tri-state area, but still to show the potential of some heavy snowfall in western sections of Pennsylvania, also in western and central and upstate New York, most of central and northern New England. Again, this is for the time frame, according to CPC, from March 29th to March 31st. So if you're a snow lover, maybe, just maybe, that is where you could head. I know that the 29th is a Saturday and the 30th is a Sunday, so maybe you can make it a snow weekend if this
You,
does verify. But
you got that
uh,
another area there in the Upper Great Lakes too.
that is correct. In fact, if I can move this over here, yeah, Upper Great Lakes, the top of the lower peninsula of Michigan, virtually the entire upper peninsula of Michigan, northern sections of Wisconsin, and most of Minnesota, and that is for the 29th through the 1st of April. No fooling. There's a slight risk of heavy snow in this zone as well. So
And then
maybe,
then
maybe,
there looks like there's another one to the west of that.
let us see. This would be for, it would appear the area of the places that are along the Continental Divide and the Rockies, western Montana, western sections of Wyoming, and into portions of Utah and Colorado. This zone up here This zone up here for Montana and Wyoming and parts of Idaho, that is for the 27th through the 2nd of April. And this zone right here that you see here is for the time frame from the 29th through the 2nd of April. Why is it that they made a special point to show this zone and this zone, but they have the same
Yeah,
time
that's
frame?
weird, isn't it?
That is weird. Somebody made
Yeah.
a screw up there. But in any case, it looks like as we get toward the end of this month of March, things are going to start turning wintry for a number of different sections of the country.
Naturally, of course. Why not? We've just
Why
had
not?
3.5 plus months of winter weather and of winter time for the most part. And now that you want it to really go away and start to warm things up. By the way, I was 28. This was like, I remember this morning, 30, I think my low was this morning. My high today was 79,
Lovely.
49-degree jump from low to high. I do like that. I like these big swings because the nights get cold and you sleep really well. I do anyhow. You sleep really well in the cold, and then the days get nice and warm. You got to wear. I got to bring a jacket with me down to the dog park when I go down around 8:30. By the time I leave the dog park a little after 10 o'clock, I'm ready to take it off, and by the time I get home, I'm in short sleeves. That's how I think we were up to. I think it got to 70 here before just about 11 o'clock this morning. I mean, that 30-degree temperature rise in about 3 hours. It was pretty fast. And by the way, the air here is so dry. The relative humidity at my house at the moment is 20%.
Wow.
Very low humidities all throughout much of the east and the south, and which is why we're not seeing widespread thunderstorms all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico because the Gulf is basically, at least for now, is cut off, or it just can't saturate fast enough because of all the dry air. And by the way, that dry air is being helped along by that ocean storm that's sitting southeast of Bermuda because it's all getting funneled down the eastern seaboard. The Storm Prediction Center tonight, as we said earlier, we have two tornado watches up and one severe thunderstorm watch covering the states of Illinois, Indiana, Western Ohio, as well as Western Kentucky. And the next 2 days, we have no severe weather to worry about. But now it's day 5. It started at day 7, and they kind of expanded this ever so slightly to the north for day 5. They've got a 15% or implied slight risk for southern Arkansas, western Mississippi, most of western Mississippi, most of Louisiana, except the southern third, and a good chunk of northeast Texas. So we all know that when SPC puts up stuff in the long range, it's always a good idea to pay attention. The other thing they did, and I'll just bring up tomorrow, even though it's not severe, Joe, they did nudge up the general thunderstorm activity further north into southern New Jersey, and then it goes northward through central Pennsylvania and pokes a nose into southwestern New York, and then the southern half goes down into North Carolina. We're not surprised they did that. I just wonder whether they might nudge it up a little bit more tomorrow.
Well, we'll see. We got a lot of a lot of things are going to be happening over the next 24 to 48 hours, primarily because of that upper low that's going to swing around into the northeast. Showery rains tomorrow night, gusty winds on Friday. By the way, Joe, I did not mention in my Facebook forecast, I did not mention any convection or any thunderstorms for our local area for tomorrow night. I just don't think the parameters or the criteria are high enough to mention that. Although, again, we could get a few spurts of heavy rain, and then boom, we'll get into that windy condition. 45 plus mile per hour wind gusts, possibly, maybe on Friday. Looking at that, that might be just underneath the criteria, which I don't really know the exact criteria, but it might be just underneath the criteria for a wind advisory. But still, very active conditions coming up to finish out the week on Friday, and then chillier weather coming in for the
I
start of the
think
week.
the advisory criteria is 40 miles an hour in gusts, and I think the wind advisory criteria is, I'm sorry, the high wind warning is 50. in
Yeah,
gusts,
yeah,
anything above
yeah.
50.
All right. So I mean, whether or not we're going to get any kind of an advisory or warning for a wind, mark my word, it will be a windy day on Friday with that. And it's interesting now, in retrospect and thinking about it now, the benchmark of an intensifying storm would be thunderstorms. And I said just a few moments ago I didn't mention any thunderstorms, but if this thing takes off and develops as quickly, this wave of low pressure on that front Thursday night, Friday morning, and thinking about it now, maybe there might be a few rumbles of thunder or flashes of lightning here.
I threw a chance for an isolated thunderstorm in. I didn't use the word severe. I just said an isolated thunderstorm might be in the mix, especially if you go south, southern New Jersey and point southward. And also for areas well inland and up northeastern Pennsylvania, maybe the Catskills, and then points north and northeast from there. Elevation driven, that there could be some wet snow on the backside of this. But I don't think. I mean, you have to go north. You certainly have to go north of Route 84 for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, we'll see.
all right. WPC has got basically 3/4 of an inch to an inch over the next 7 days. That might be a little underdone, and a good chunk of this is front end loaded. We also have half an inch to hits of an inch and a half in the Ohio and Tennessee Valley and parts of the Gulf states. Also around the Great Lakes, we're looking at a half to 3/4 of an inch in some areas of an inch or so of liquid. Obviously, some of that from the stuff from tonight, that's snow in those northern areas where they got the warnings. The northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest also continue to look to be on the busy side. And this takes us through next Wednesday night, the 26th of March. So here's our storm system, which is reaching peak intensity now. That low goes up into Canada. The front kind of does a big stretch, and a new low forms at what will be the base of the near the base of the upper trough. Uh, Probably somewhere, maybe pops up in Chesapeake Bay or Delaware Bay, and then moves out to the northeast and east from there and intensifies. Gradient's a little less tight on today's runs than it was yesterday. I don't want to downplay the wind as of yet, because that could just have been a one or two run idea, and then we wind up with a little bit more development and a deeper low. The gradient will be a little tighter, but it's fast. It's fast. Much of the precip for the coast will be done probably by Friday morning, and the winds will probably start to ease uh, later in the day, Friday and Friday night. We have a cold front dropping from southeastern Canada, so I threw in the chance of a shower. The rest of the East Coast looks pretty dry. I mean, there's going to be some showers with this front that goes through the Gulf. They go through the Gulf states and the Appalachians, and maybe a thunderstorm come tomorrow night, come overnight into Thursday morning, I should say. I'm sorry, overnight into Thursday morning. And then you get the upper trough to go by, of course. And then we get this cold front on Saturday. Maybe there's a shower of rain near the coast, maybe a couple of snow showers well to the north. Sunday looks okay, but then the next low from Canada and the Pacific, got another storm in the plains here, with some heavier snows in the Dakotas and Minnesota to the western lakes, and the trailing cold front. This is going to be the severe weather trigger that SPC is looking at for those areas in Arkansas, Louisiana, East Texas, and Mississippi. And there'll probably be general north of thunderstorm activity, even extending up further northeast from there into the Ohio Valley. Looks to me like we'll probably get maybe a little bit of rain Sunday night into Monday, well up to the north. Maybe it's a little bit of snow, and then that front goes out. And overall, the pattern as we go through the last days of the month, it's kind of on the active and coldish side. Um, Not going to warm up all that much in between systems. It'll chill down as weather fronts go by, and then of course we see various runs with lows to the south and lows nearby. And I think we're probably going to have several attempts for weather systems to play through on the last days of March and the first days of April, but I wouldn't necessarily put any definitive parameter on any of these. But I'll just say, Joe, that it's the type of pattern that we should have had uh, would have been a lot more playable for snow lovers than this had shown up in December or January or February. I mean, we had a cold pattern, but everything was getting suppressed to the south, and that may still wind up happening with these.
It might. And again, you just mentioned a few moments ago, the irony, the fact that we've gone through. Certainly it was a cold winter by typical standards, but for the snow lovers, just really nothing really broke right, so to speak. And it looks like, unless things change a little bit from what we could see, at least in the extended forecast, it may not break right either, even though it does turn colder and a little bit more toward wintry conditions again toward the end of this month.
By the way, happy St. Joseph's Day.
And the same to you, sir.
And I tell your sister thank you for sending me that Facebook Happy St. Joseph's Day.
I know, I saw that. She sent it to all of her favorite Joes, and you were among one of her favorite Joes.
Well, that's not. But thank
One
you.
cent.
Thank
one
you.
cent.
You're making me blush.
And today the swallows return to Capistrano, and tomorrow spring will officially arrive when most of us are in the midst of the inner eyelid show, 5:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Right, the vultures go back to Hinckley, Ohio.
The buzzards, the turkey
Buzzards,
buzzards.
the turkey buzzards. Yeah,
We have those sometimes here where I live. You'll see them occasionally whenever there's roadkill.
oh, we have them here. Well, we have plenty of them here, and they're very efficient. I mean, you could drive by in the morning and see roadkill, or even if there's a deer that was hit overnight and is on the side of the road, and you come back a couple of hours later, and it's picked clean down to the bone.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
very, very efficient, and they're very clean, by the way. That's what people don't realize that they are very clean animals, and they their digestive systems produce acids that actually kill E. coli and all the nasty bacteria that bothers us. So they're not dirty. People think they're dirty because they eat dead carcasses. They are actually quite clean.
Did I ever show you the time lapse of the fire ants devouring the gecko?
No, but don't do that now because I really have to cut the show short tonight for obvious reasons.
Understood. I know exactly what you're
So
talking about.
actually, I don't know. I guess the Lord is shining upon me tonight because at least from 7:30 till now, I have not had the need to kind of make a quick dash. For those of you, I'm not speaking in code, but I have a colonoscopy scheduled for tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So I had to start my prep. It's god awful stuff. I don't care. I don't. I'm not good with sweet stuff, but this tastes the prep tastes like I don't know. I guess let's say 7 Up multiplied by 100, or Mountain Dew multiplied by 100. It's just god awful, god awful. And anyway, enough of that. So, thanks everybody for being here. Sorry to have to shorten the show up a bit, but you know what? I got to shorten the show up. So we'll see you all tomorrow night and that's the other thing. You know, I have not eaten since 9 o'clock last night. I decided last night that since I wasn't going to be able to eat all day today, so I made myself a grilled cheese sandwich on brioche bread, and it was absolutely delicious. And just talking about it is making me jittery because I am so hungry. Oh, and on that note, let's say good night, Joe, right now.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
luck tomorrow, Joe.
All right, night.